discuss, and reimagine popular movie lists objectively. We're your hosts. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Brad. And on this episode, we're going to explore number 88 from AFI's 100 Years, 100 Passions, the top 100 love stories of all time.
Okay, and in number 88 is The Princess Bride, directed by Rob Reiner, released in 1987, starring Robin Wright and Carrie Elwes.
So, the synopsis for this fairy tale adventure is as follows. A grandfather, Peter Falk, reads a book to his sick grandson, played by Fred Savage. It's a story about a young woman named Buttercup, played by Robin Wright, who lives in the fictional kingdom of Florin. She is in love with farmhand Wesley, played by Carrie Elwes. He leaves her to earn his fortune overseas so he may marry her. His ship is attacked by the dread pirate Roberts, and Wesley is presumed dead. 5 years later, Buttercup is set to marry Prince Humperdinck, played by Chris Sarandon, heir to the throne of Florin. Before the wedding, she is kidnapped by Sicilian Vicini, played by Wallace Shawn, Greenland giant Fezzik, played by Andre the Giant, and Spanish fencing expert Inigo Montoya, played by Mandy Patinkin. They are pursued by Humperdinck and his men, as well as a masked stranger clad in black. He confronts the outlaws atop the cliffs of insanity, first defeating Inigo in a sword duel, then besting Fezzik and choking him unconscious, and finally defeating Vicini in a battle of wits that sees him poisoned. Buttercup guesses he is the dread pirate Roberts and berates him for killing Wesley. She pushes the dread pirate Roberts down a hill, and he calls out, "As you wish," something Wesley always told her. Realizing it's actually Wesley, she rolls down the hill after him. While continuing on, he explains how he became the dread pirate Roberts. They are met by Humperdinck. She agrees to go with him if he spares Wesley. He lies and says he will, sending Wesley to the pit of despair for torture. His real intent is to make it appear Buttercup was killed by neighboring Gilder so he can start a war. Fezzik and Inigo reunite in the forest, where Fezzik tells him that one of Humperdinck's men, Count Rugen, is the man he's been searching for, the man who killed his father, the man with 6 fingers. Inigo realizes he needs Wesley to storm the castle. They find a tortured Wesley, mostly dead, and with the help of Miracle Max, played by Billy Crystal, to revive him. The three storm the castle and interrupt the wedding. Buttercup is saved. Humperdinck is left bound. Inigo has his revenge. Fezzik brings horses, and the four ride off. The sick grandson asks his grandfather to return tomorrow and read it again. The grandfather responds, "As you wish." What's there to say about
What is there to say about this movie?
This movie, for people from, our generation, this is a classic. It's so unfortunate. This movie absolutely bombed at the box office.
I can't believe that.
But it came out right around the time that home video was really starting to take off. And this is one of the first movies that became an absolute hit while failing theatrically because of home video. This movie is beloved. This movie has so many quotable lines. It's so great.
You could really quote the whole movie,
right.
Really.
During the pandemic, there was a very short-lived streaming service called Quibi, short for Quick Bites, and it was like all these really like short movies. And one of the things that they did, which was really, really fun, and I saw a couple of the episodes, was they would get just random actors to shoot scenes from this movie, and the only thing that they had to do was whatever they shot, it had to be done at home with whatever they had there. And there's some really, really funny stuff, like Jack Black did one, but probably the most heartwarming one was the last scene, or was it the first scene? It's either first scene or last scene, I can't remember, where Rob Reiner, the director of this film, plays the grandson, and his father, Carl Reiner, who was 102 at the time, played the grandfather, and he died shortly thereafter, after a very, very long and fruitful life. but it's just it's kind of wonderful that the last thing that he shot was this thing with his son.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's so cool, and his, one of his son's, most famous movies. This is probably the one that people talk about the most. He did some other movies that have done well, but this one is just beloved. There's a really great audiobook called As You Wish about the making of this movie, which Carrie Elwes narrates for the most part, but it's also got interviews with the entire cast and everyone who is involved with this movie. You can tell had the time of their lives, just had a really, really wonderful time. Everything about this movie is wonderful. We've watched it pretty recently, so we didn't rewatch it for this. We really didn't have to. We've seen this movie.
No, we've seen it so many times.
So many times. This is one that's in our our personal library. What's there to say? Everyone gives really, really great performances.
And this is on the list because it's a love story, and it's a real storybook love story. It's very sweet and
the song for this movie is storybook love story.
Yeah, and it's a very sweet story, and it's very romantic, and even the grandson at the end is like, okay, tell me about the kissing.
One of the coolest facts about this movie for me is Mark Knopfler. You might know him. He's the lead singer of Dire Straits, also a single artist and one of the greatest guitarists of all time. He agreed to do the theme song for this movie if Rob Reiner found a way to get the hat from This Is Spinal Tap into this movie. So if you watch in the kid's bedroom, the hat that Rob Reiner wears in This Is Spinal Tap is in the bedroom.
Oh, that's great.
So he found a way to get into this movie. He's like, how else would you get a baseball hat?
Yeah.
In this fictional, Wonderland. There's no way to do it, but he found a way to do it, and Mark Knopfler,
was like, okay.
Did the song. He lived up to it. This movie is just so fun. It's so quotable. It's one of the most quotable movies of all time.
Yeah, I quote it all the time. I still do. And just, I love Billy Crystal. He's one of my favorites. He was in my most favorite movie of all time, When Harry Met Sally.
Which we'll be revisiting.
Yes, for sure.
In a few weeks.
Yeah.
It's a few weeks down the road.
Just a couple weeks. But yeah, he's great as Miracle Max. His part is short and sweet, and it's a great story. It's interesting. It's funny. It's sad. It's heroic. It's great.
And even you don't expect someone like Andre the Giant.
Oh, he's so good.
He's so fantastic. He just has this wonderful screen presence, and all the people that he's passed away. Everyone in that that audiobook about the making of it, they talk about him with such reverence and such love. They just had such a wonderful time, getting to know this man, and he truly was a gentle giant of a man.
Yes.
And then this was Robin Wright's first movie, and Carrie Elwes kind of talks about how everyone was in love with her. She's just so beautiful, and the chemistry the two of them have is so wonderful, and you buy every minute of it. Mandy Patinkin, playing a Spaniard somehow works.
It really does.
It really works.
Yes.
Wallace Shawn playing a Sicilian somehow works. Christopher Guest as Count Rugen.
He's great.
He's really great.
Yeah.
Chris Sarandon as Prince Humperdinck. There's so much. It's funny. The action's good, and it's it's almost shot shoddily on purpose, because the grandfather's telling a story. So it's almost like the grandfather you're seeing in the grandfather's imagination, or the kid's more likely the kid's imagination.
Yes.
So you're seeing the story as the kid is imagining his grandfather reading it.
Yeah.
So rodents of unusual size are, you know,
big giant rats.
Big giant rats, and they look kind of fake. And the screaming eels,
yes,
look kind of fake. And you know, it's just, there's so much to love about this movie. I mean, this is one of those movies, like, it's just a feel good movie. Like, if it's on, there's like, we're not turning it off. It's just
we'll watch it all the way through.
We're just like, you know, we don't even have to look at each other. It's like, Princess Bride.
Well, it's on. We're watching it.
You know, it's a favorite of both of ours. This is
for sure
such a wonderful, wonderful movie. So this is another one where, real easy, I gave it an 82. Jerry gave it an 82. The list score is therefore 82. Again, this movie is way too low on the list. Again, they're just giving more weight to older movies for whatever reason,
which is really a shame, because there, in going back and watching these older movies, there's a lot of issues that are not okay at all. So
this one's really wholesome. This is one that, you know, is great for families. There's nothing in this movie really that, you know, that would offend anyone, and it's just, it's a good time. It's a really, really good time. I imagine pretty much everyone has seen the movie at this point.
Oh, God, I would hope so.
Check this movie out. It's on Disney Plus. If you don't already own it, which we do. I mean,
and if you know us, just ask. You could borrow our copy.
It's so good. It's so much fun. It really, really holds up. It's an absolute. When you say a movie is timeless,
yes, this movie is
timeless.
Yeah,
this movie will still be good 20 years from now.
For sure. Yeah.
So, just what more can you say about it?
Yeah, there's nothing really bad about this movie.
And I mean, just, you know, the whole "as you wish" thing. You know, I'm not gonna say that I didn't slip that into one of my books. I won't say that I did that. Anyway, please like and subscribe if you want to continue on this journey. Only 88 more to go. That's it. Or you can comment below. We'll answer. You can also send us an email at ratingthelist@gmail.com. We'll answer there as well.
All right.
Until next time, I'm Brad.
I'm Jerry.
And we're rating the list.
We're rating the list. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.